I enjoy it.
3 other houses have already been built by the Mennonites with supplies from the Red Cross.
Makes life worth living when you can give yourself for other people. To me, it does. So I enjoy it. I really do.
Hope McBriarty's new home sits just up the hill from the river, and the shell of her old house still full of memories.
We'll miss watching all the little things around the river, the cranes and the ducks. You know, our family grew up there, so there's a little part of you, a lot of you is gone, but we're thankful to be alive and have a place to call home again where the children can come and we can live.
The beautiful view and lifetime of memories help make starting over easier. In the Allagash, Tom Hellick, News Center.
With the help of Mennonites from as far away as Maryland and Nova Scotia, 8 new homes should be up by next month. Tomorrow night, the story of one family that doesn't want a new home. They want to stay right where they are, even if it means going through another flood. Lost their homes and most everything they own. But for one family, the pain of their loss has only been made worse by what they've gone through after the disastrous flood. News Center's Tom Halleck tonight with that story.
Most of those who lost their homes are elderly, living on fixed incomes, so there was little doubt they'd be able to get help rebuilding. Although it hasn't been easy, they've left their old homes and will soon move into new ones. The Red Cross has paid for the foundations and lumber. Mennonites from Pennsylvania and Nova Scotia are volunteering to build the homes. 4 are up already, and 4 more should be by this fall. Those getting the new homes feel fortunate.
I really don't know. I couldn't explain what I would have done. There'd have been a way, but it would have been awful tough.
Arthur and Edith Kelly's house is right along the bank of the St. John. They don't want to rebuild on the hillside or across the Little Black. They say this has been the family's homestead for generations. They want to stay right here.
And it's what we would like, and we can't just think of any other place that we would, you know, select to live.
But the Kellys didn't qualify for relief money. They don't own other land where they could rebuild, and they're not sure they could afford a new house on their retirement. So they chose to fix up their damaged house and stay right along the river. An easy decision, but not an easy accomplishment. In order to stay, they had to have surveyors come in and plot out a new site for their house on higher ground. For weeks, town, state, and federal officials debated back and forth whether more expensive surveying and water testing was still needed. Testing that could have cost the family up to $10,000. The town admits it's been long and complicated, but needed.
We've accepted and are using those as part of our ordinance, and in order to be able to get the flood insurance and things, and it's kind of hard because they're in the floodway, and it's something that our ordinance don't allow us to put anybody in the floodway or even in the floodplain. But if they go through the proper procedures and if people agree, then they can do it.
The Kellys say they should have been able to move their house and rebuild months ago.
I don't know. I suppose they got certain requirements and which they think is necessary, and sometimes we think is ridiculous.
But finally, just today, they got the needed approval. They'll move their house next week, and the Kellys will be able to start the long process of rebuilding their home and lives. In the Allagash, Tom Hellick, News Center.
And we'll have changes. Others are troubling, like the big drop in population. That change could lead to an even more drastic one. News Center's Tom Halleck tonight with the last of his reports on rebuilding Allagash.
The Allagash Wilderness is still one of the greatest gifts of nature, still a sportsman's paradise. But at the end of the road where civilization turns into wilderness, the small town that's the namesake for the Great Waterway is seeing a lot of change. Tractor trailers haul sections of new bridges and lumber for new homes to replace those wiped out by the massive ice jam that flowed from the rain and snow-swollen St. John, Allagash, and Little Black rivers. The town is where the 3 rivers converge, and it bared the brunt of their collective fury. There's millions in damage. Relief aid will pay for much of it, but not all. Those who lost their homes are elderly on fixed incomes. In fact, 3/4 of the population here is over 65, and the average age is getting older and older. There's few jobs left. Young people are moving away.
The younger children don't stay. There's nothing here, really, for them.
You know, for people that are established and have work and jobs. Now, my husband's not home at all during the week. He has to work away. But we own a home here, and, you know, this is where we are. But for young children, there's just nothing here.
At one time, the population was 900. Now it's just over 300. 2 years ago, the town made the painful decision to shut its high school and bus students to Fort Kent. Only 29 kids are left in grades K through 8. There's less and less state money. Taxes on the elderly residents are going up, more than doubling for some.
We don't have any children. There's nobody having any children. It's our population is still dropping, and we don't have the money here to support that type of a school anymore.
Kids would be bused 12 miles to St. Francis or 30 miles to Fort Kent. Many of the younger children don't want the change.
I've always gone to school up here, and I like it up here. My house is up there, and it's a long bus ride, and it's funner here because there's not many kids, and the classroom ain't packed.
But 7th grader Eric Gardner likes going to school in Fort Kent. He's done it since the 2nd grade.
So it's not bad. You go down there and make new friends, and you have old friends back here.
And there's more for you to do down there, especially the sports.
A lot of sports. And I join almost everyone.
It's upsetting to many. They fear that the long bus ride in the winter will be tough, that there will be no community identity, and that more families will end up moving away. And that in the end, Allagash may become a ghost resort town at the end of the road.